Thank you. Parliament is resumed. Now, therefore, the members who will speak to the motion, please take the floor. Thank you. Let me give the floor to the Honourable Chairman of Bills and Legislation Committee and MP for North East Guadalcanal.
Recognizing the MP for North East Guadalcanal, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. At the outset, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to congratulate the Prime Minister on behalf of the people of North East Guadalcanal. Also to congratulate the ministers of the great government, the members. Also from the heart of the people of North East Guadalcanal, to congratulate the Deputy Speaker from South New Georgia, Randova and Tedepari. Mr. Speaker, I'm responding to this call that an address is presented to His Excellency the Governor-General, and that response will be presented now. That we, the Parliament of Solomon Islands, here assembled, beg to leave, to offer thanks for the speech which was being addressed by him to Parliament on the 4th of August 2026. A lot of my colleagues have addressed a lot of issues in this presentation by the Governor-General. I am going to be concentrated on just page 10 of the speech for this afternoon. That part which deals with the land and the stewardship of our national inheritance, Mr. Speaker. His Excellency articulated comprehensive reform of customary land governance, covering approximately 85%, as stated in the speech, 85% of the territory of our country. I'll be dwelling on 8 framework standards, which the presentation, I believe, is demanding formalities for legal, number one, legal recognition of customary rights, perpetuity for land and sea rights, protection of community and land, trust lands, incentives to release land for equitable development, digital modernization of land administration for benefit sharing, reform of housing, and coastal governance. Mr. Speaker, he further announced and named 5 bills in the presentation. Number 1, the Customary Land Governance Bill, the Land Dispute Resolution Bill, the National Housing Bill, Coastal and Marine Governance, and the Land Information System Bill. At the closing of his address, right at the back on page 17, according to the printout that was shared on our benches on this side, he called, Mr. Speaker, His Excellency called upon all members of this House to bring to the government measures, the honest scrutiny that our people deserve. He declared that our accountability is not an obstacle to good governance. It is its guarantee. As chair of the Bills and Legislation Committee, we welcome that invitation. But let me be clear here this afternoon, Mr. Speaker. Honest scrutiny is not a favor granted to us by the executive to the legislature. It is a constitutional function of this House. The chair of this committee does not ask for permission to scrutinize this legislation. As the chair, I'm asking the minister responsible for lands to provide the documents, the data, the time required for this job. As it was said in the paper, to lead is to serve, and the committee will serve the people by testing every bills that will be given to the chair against the rule of law, number 1, the rule of transparency, number 2, the rule of accountability, number 3, the rule of economic opportunity, number 4, environmental stewardship and social cohesion. Mr. Speaker, any bill that falls short will be reported to the House without fear or favor. That is the discharge of our constitutional mandate. Mr. Speaker, it is my duty, as I've read through the articulations on the paper on the speech from the throne, to subject these land bills, these land proposals to a rigorous, honest scrutiny. Others have stated that it's supposed to be more than being honest. Mr. Speaker, I beg to ask this afternoon whether this agenda is truly reform, truly accountable, truly empowering, truly transforming, or whether it's a collection of political slogans, untested against the hard realities of Solomon Islands land law, the judgments of our Court of Appeals, and the solemn covenant of this country, which is the Townsville Peace Agreement. Speaker, let me acknowledge at the outset from the speech that has made administrative progress as a government. As it was listed, since 2019, 33 parcels of land have been recorded nationwide. The speech contains the ARCI customary land recording office that was established through collaborations between the Ministry of Lands and the Malaita provincial governments. Thank you, these are welcoming steps. But I believe I was the minister opening that land recording office. However, administrative progress cannot substitute legislative precision. The Customary Lands Recording Act has been on statute books since 1994. And while we commend the great government for breathing life into it, the framework remains incomplete. Speaker, before I can further assess whether the government's land agenda is genuinely reforming, we must constructively understand what our courts have already told us. The Court of Appeal in Majoria versus Gino had to grapple with overlapping and conflicting claims to customary land. The court stressed the important role assigned by Parliament to the chiefs and their decisions for determining disputes of customary land, concluding that a party who disagrees with a decision of the chiefs but declines to invoke the local court for reconsideration must be considered bound by that decision. Constructive decision, this judgment is saying this judgment reveals that our existing customary land dispute resolution framework is already cracking under the weight of conflicting tribal claims. Forum shopping between party regimes and the inability of state institutions to give effect to chiefs' decisions. Thus, The Land Dispute Resolution Bill that was named here must explicitly address the legislative gap identified by the court, namely that the status of the chief's decision must be stated in the legislation. Constructive analysis, as was requested by one of the MPs here on the floor, the Court of Appeal judgment concerning fraudulent land allocations near Henderson Airport towards Free constituency on the eastern side, for which I am the third on the fringes of the oil palm trees, upholding the rectification of the land register to strike out fixed term estate over parcels. Thus, those had been obtained through fraud. The Commissioner discovered that documents had been deliberately marked with false dates prior to the commencement of the Land Board, December 2014, and the apparent deliberate effort to bypass board and allow allocation to be registered in October without the board being aware. Mr. Speaker, if registered estates obtained through fraud can be rectified, then the government explained to this House what perpetuity means for unregistered customary land. If the officers can manipulate paper records, they can manipulate digital records unless the system has a robust audit trails, independent verification systems, and penalties for data tampering, Milel Betfried. And I must address, Mr. Speaker, the very recent judgment by the courts, April 2026, concerning the Solomon Leavers land at Hell's Point, Alligator Tenaroo area. The judge dismissed the government's attempts to seize land through forfeiture, compulsory acquisition, the ruling power to take private property which is not at large and must strictly adhere to constitutional and statutory safeguards. The ruling found that the government failed the necessity test under Section 71 of the Lands and Titles Act because there was no evidence that the land was actually required at the time for declaration. Mr. Speaker, that judgment is a shield for every man logolkana where you stop Tenaroo, Boxwood, Lunga, Henderson, for you listen, come good. Because it is a warning to every single minister who will become Minister of Lands who believes that development urgency can override constitutional processes. It is a big no. If you want the land in Tenaroo, Lunga for road, hospital, an important expansion or a police center, you must now comply with Section 112 of the Constitution. Prior negotiation with landowners, access to independent legal advice, limitation to fixed-term interest where practicable. The throne speech is very silent on this safeguard. But I want to take note this afternoon that the chair speech has placed on record. Constructive analysis of this issue, Mr. Speaker. In the Casa versus Biku case, the judge established that tribal representatives who received money from the use of customary land hold that money in a fiduciary position akin to a constructive trustee and must account to the people for every dollar. Mr. Speaker, the court held that the principles of equity that was mentioned in the speech can be modified and applied to regulate dealings in customary land, and that the duty to account is of vital importance to Solomon Islands in responding to modern conditions. Speaker, this is precisely the kind of accountability that the speech claims to support. Yet the speech does not mention any new statutory trust framework or any strengthening of the constructive trust principles recognized in the Bhikkhu case. Without, Mr. Speaker, embedding these equitable principles into the Customary Land Governance Bill or the Customary Land Trust Bill, the promise of a fair benefit sharing will remain a rhetorical sentence in this presentation, in this speech, sir. In the Masolo Investment Limited versus NESA, the case demonstrated that logging companies routinely trespass into customary lands, breach buffer zones, and destroys a lot of waterways, leaving villages to fight very expensive court battles for years, Mr. Speaker. Decisions at the courts affirmed damages to 3.2 million. The villages, some had to organize peaceful demonstration, Speaker, hire very expensive environmental experts, and endure years of litigations to achieve that. Transformation, Mr. Speaker, would mean giving landowners statutory powers to stop trespasses before it happens, not merely compensatory damages after the forest is being destroyed. Mr. Speaker, I'm asking my good friends from the other side to explain how it will empower landowners to prevent trespass, not merely seek damages after the fact. Speaker, I must now turn to the piece that was registered from the speech by the Governor-General from the throne, because he invoked peace and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in his address. His Excellency, Mr. Speaker, stated that the government acknowledged the patient work of peace-building code 25 years, while recognizing that peace remains vulnerable so long as customary land disputes persist. A root issue identified by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, Mr. Speaker. The committee agrees, but we must be honest about those disputes that persist. They persist because the TPA, the Council Peace Agreement, promised truth. It promised reconciliation. It promised restoration for Guadalcanal and other affected provinces. And those promises remain unfinished. As a signatory to the TPA explicitly recognized that land alienation, unresolved customary land claims, marginalization of Guadalcanal landowners were the root causes. It committed the state to address Guadalcanal land grievances through compensation, through rehabilitation, through the restoration of customary land rights. Mr. Speaker, the throne speech treats the Guadalcanal grievances at the core being of the TPA as an administrative obstacle to be cleared for national development. The TPA promised that Guadalcanal people would be partners in the development of their own land. The throne speech promises incentives to release land for equitable development while entrenching ownership in perpetuity. These are not the same thing, Mr. Speaker. The TPA promised restoration. The speech from the throne promises restructuring, not on. The Governor-General's warning that peace remains vulnerable so long as customary land disputes persist as a strategic framing device that suggests any resistance to the government's land agenda is a threat to a national peace. I, as MP for Guadalcanal and a signatory to the TPA, reject this framing absolutely. The TPA did not call for rash national legislation imposed from Honiara. It called for reconciliation, customary redress, provincial partnership. If the customary land governance bill centralizes land recording in a national digital system without provincial input, Guarakan and every other province listening this afternoon will lose their institutional voice over the land that defines their identity. If the Coastal and Marine Governance Bill overrides provincial jurisdiction without explicit constitutional clarity, our coastal communities alongside the Honeraya, they will find their beaches, their sea rights nationalized. Remember, the TPA is not a museum piece. It is a living covenant to some of us. And any land bill that bypasses this, promises this from the TPA, is not a program for peace. It is a program for dispossession. Mr. Speaker, the Throne Speech Coastal and Marine Governance Bill, the Land Information System Bill, seeks to register Lunga coastal land without resolving TPA mandated claims. I hope him in open and bite the wounds that we've closed. The Lunga customary landowners have waited 25 years for the restoration of their coastal tenure. Any new registration that bypasses the TPA grievances is not modernization. It is an institutional amnesia. Mr. Speaker, as chair of the Bills and Legislation Committee, I must be honest with this House and with the people of Solomon Islands. Comprehensive customary land reform cannot be rushed. The Customary Land Commission Bill alone will require extensive consultation with 9 provincial governments, hundreds of tribal chiefs, the Law Reform Commission, the Attorney General's chambers, the Surveyors Department General. The Court of Appeal in Majoria versus Gino noted that the statutory schemes was not entirely easy to interpret, and the court was left to deal with the resulting conflicts. We cannot afford, Mr. Speaker, to repeat that legislative failure. The Customary Land Governance Bill must be drafted with precision, and that precision, Mr. Speaker, requires time. The Land Dispute Resolution Bill will require extensive time as well, because it will and it must reconcile the Local Courts Act, the Forest Resources and Timber Utilizations Act, the Customs Land Records Act, the Lands and Titles Act, and as the Public Solicitor's Office has documented, the current processes requires dispute to go through chiefs, the local courts, and then the Customary Land Appeal Court, the High Court on points of law, and potentially the Court of Appeal. This backlog is enormous, Mr. Speaker. The records, some from the World Bank, reported that there are close to more than 300 land dispute cases backlogged in the local courts alone. Any new dispute resolution framework must be piloted, tested, and resources before it can replace or supplement a new existing system. This cannot be done in one parliamentary term without adequate funding. Let me dwell on the Coastal and Marine Governance Bill, which is listed on the speech as well, is perhaps the most complex and time-consuming of the bill, because it will address the foreshore. It will address the seabed. It will address the 3 nautical mile zone, and it has an interface with UNCLOS. The High Court, constructive analysis on this, the High Court in Combined Fera Group took years to resolve the single dispute over reclaimed land. The bill will affect every coastal community and will inevitably be challenged. My good brothers on the other side, we must ensure that this bill is not 100% bulletproof, but means extensive drafting time, international legal review, and consultation with regional bodies. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Land Information System Bill, though technical, also requires time because it depends on surveying. The Surveyor General's Department does not currently have the capacity to survey 85% of the country's land. Digital systems require accurate spatial data, ground truthing, boundary demarcation, resolution of overlapping claims, and this is a generational project, not a quick fix, not a quick win. The Customary Land Trust Bill requires time because trust structures must be carefully designed to protect community interests while allowing for development. The constructive trust principles recognized, again, constructive analysis. In the Casa Biku case, it must be embedded in the legislation. The rule against perpetuities must be addressed, and the relationship between customary trust and statutory trust must be clarified. For the Gold Ridge landowners, our people from Foxwood, the people from Kenaru, all the people from East Honiara, and every affected mining province, this is the bill that is the difference between genuine stewardship or an export of poverty. Mr. Speaker, let me dwell on the gaps of what the speech omitted. The Great Policy Statement Annex 2 lists the Valuation and Rating Bill as a separate instrument, yet it was omitted from the Governor-General's address. Then how can benefit sharing be fair if there is no statutory mechanism for independent valuing of the land and the resources extracted from it? Mr. Speaker, the government must explain whether the Valuation and Rating Bill is part of this legislative package. Without it, fairness is just a word without a scale. The speech promises to reform housing, coastal governance frameworks. This is what I saw as one of the transformative intent of the great government. But the policy statement Annex 2 lists the National Housing Bill, the Urban Planning Bill, the Valuation Rating Bill as separate instruments. They have not been mentioned. I want clarification on those. My next point, the perpetuity question and the legal ambiguity that must be resolved. Mr. Speaker, the speech promises that land and sea rights will be secured in perpetuity. This sounds noble, honestly, but it raises legal questions that demands answers. Because constructive analysis, again, the High Court decision in Allardyce Lumber versus Lowry held that some custom rights can exist over the sea and supplement the common law position, but the onus was on the defendant to establish a customary right over the reefs and the reclaimed land in question. The court refused to accept customary ownership over the seabed and reefs, ruling that it was prepared to accept other customary rights if proved to its satisfaction. Speaker, this means that customary sea rights are already recognized in our jurisprudence, Mr. Speaker, but they are burdened by heavy evidentiary requirements and uncertainty. The Governor-General's promise of perpetuity for sea rights requires this House, us, to explain to the people of this country how this will overcome the evidentiary burdens that our courts have struggled with it for decades. The Combined Ferrer Group versus the Attorney General, decided by the High Court, ruled that seabed and foreshore could be customary land if customary ownership, including customary use or occupation, could be proved to have existed before January 1, 1969. But the case took 11 years to resolve in the courts. After being sent back from the High Court, that reclaimed land case takes 11 years. Mr. Speaker, as a government, I am part of the Stoa Parliament. Also, with the great government, we must explain to our people how we will secure perpetuity for all sea rights across 9 provinces, whether it's in the life of this Parliament or in the next House. The constitutional safeguards and why Section 112 must be respected. The speech promises to create incentives to release land for equitable development, while simultaneously entrenching landholding ownership in perpetuity. These 2 objectives are in direct tension to each other. If customary land is truly inalienable and held in perpetuity, then the legal mechanism for releasing it for development must be carefully constructed to avoid constitutional challenge. Mr. Speaker, in Pussy versus Lenny, the Constitution recognizes customary law as part of the law of Solomon Islands, and authority cannot be disregarded. The judges in the courts warned that it is a fallacy to view a constitutional principle as better than those principles contained in customary law, and they condemned any attempts to use the Constitution to circumvent the law application of custom. Any bill that seeks to incentivize the surrender of customary land must be drafted with extreme care to ensure that it does not violate the constitutional protection of customary rights under Schedule 3 and Section 110 of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, any bill creating incentives to release the land must comply strictly with Section 1 of 12, which requires, Mr. Speaker, prior story one time about one talks. Access him legal advice, give him locket. Limitation, the fixed term interest where practicable. Speech promises to release land, but silent law constitutional safeguards. Mr. Speaker, when going through the speech from the throne, it brought back memories of a threshold program with a $20 million grant with the goal to reduce poverty by addressing the country's biggest constraints to economic growth. And that program, the NGO, focuses on 2 constraints, Mr. Speaker: the Forest Value Enhancement Project to shift the country from unsustainable logging to more reliable income streams, and accessing land for tourism investment facilitation to address the lack of secure access to land, which limits tourism investment. Mr. Speaker, this is a project here. Hemi directly engaging for extracting land issues that are at the heart of this presentation. The unfinished matters. Hemi aim for promising social license agreements between landowners. Social license agreements? No. Affected communities and investors, and has already identified probably close to 30 investable sites in the country. The program, Mr. Speaker, is operating in the shadow of an unresolved TPA. If the social license process perceived as a way to bypass unresolved grievances for the sake of investment, my colleagues, this afternoon, this is not good. The specific communities on Guadalcanal, I won't dwell too much of it, but this means, Mr. Speaker, they are considered not as class customary lands and therefore preferred for the development stakeholder consultations for the project. Noted differing perceptions of the validity of land titles for some sites, particularly in my province, Guadalcanal, indicating that the very process of identifying these sites is occurring on land where historical grievances are still actively contested. Mr. Speaker, some will say that the chair's deliberation this afternoon is a delay. No, I say it's the difference between reform that empowers and a reform that destroys. We need to get the basics right. Members, previous government have settled the fundamental policies for the basics of this. I hope these bills were not piecemeal bills to frustrate and once again, from my words, for him not providing peace to country. Because the Constitution must explicitly recognize customary land ownership in the same terms. Let me give him example that Vanuatu's Article 73 does, where he say that all land in the Republic of Vanuatu belongs to the indigenous custom owners and their descendants. We must create customary land, perpetual estates as a new category. The compulsory acquisition powers must comply with Section 112. The local courts must be equipped to handle the backlog cases. The TPA promises of restoration, autonomy, and justice must be fulfilled. The people of Tenaru, Lunga, Henderson, Foxwood, and the people of Guadalcanal have waited for 26 years. They cannot wait for another election cycle, or maybe 8 more election cycles. Before I resume my seat, Mr. Speaker, I therefore ask that the Minister, from the Ministry of Lands, resolved that, number 1, draft bills for all 5 land instruments or detailed status reporting on the progress. I know it will come from him as soon as this sitting ends. And second, I demand a constitutional opinion on the perpetuity clause, clarifying its meaning and its interaction with our common law principles and Section 12 of the Constitution, a detailed costing of the digital land administration system, a transitional provisional paper protecting all pending customary land disputes currently before the courts, the customary land appeal, and with specific TPA-mandated protections for the Tenaru people and all my good people from the east side of Honiara, and to those with customary estates, I demand a consultation framework for each bill specifying stakeholders, which one of them will be consulted, time and when, explicit recognition of the TPA peace agreement obligations, the Gold Ridge Customary Land Owner Committees, and the Guadalcanal Provincial Government as mandatory consultees to these consultations. Mr. Speaker, building this house from page 10, the Governor-General's speech on land is ambiguous, rhetoric, but I see deficient in its legal structure architecture. It promises perpetuity without defining it. It promises benefit sharing without enforcing it. It promises digital modernization without explaining anti-corruption safeguard. It promises 5 bills. It invokes the sacred nature of land, but requires clarification on new statutory protection against fraud as condemned in the courts. It speaks of empowering chiefs, but must resolve the jurisdictional confusion as stated in the courts exposed in Majoria versus Gino. It speaks of transformation, but must explain how landowners will be given the injunctive powers to stop environmental destructions that the court affirmed. It promises to take land for development, but ignores the constitutional safeguards that our courts enforced in the Lever Solomon's case in April this year. It speaks of peace, but omits the TPA peace agreement's unfinished restoration of Guadalcanal land grievances. Mr. Speaker, the Chair On behalf of the BLC committee, we will not oppose land reform. We support it for this record. We acknowledge the government's administrative progress in customary land recording, and we welcome the vision articulated inside the throne speech. But this afternoon, we will not be a rubber stamp for bills that have not been drafted, for policies that have not been costed, for promises that have not been tested against the settled law of this country, the constitutional protections of our people, and the peace covenants of our history. Mr. Speaker, I stand ready to work constructively with the great government to deliver land reform that is legally sound, institutionally feasible, genuinely empowering, and TPA compliant. We are not opposing reform. We are demanding the legislative precision that customary landowners deserve. Mr. Speakers, until these documents before my committee, the agenda remains a speech, not a program, and we'll treat it as such. We will not report we will not report favorably on any bill until the minister tables the implementation plan on this that this motion demands. We will take time that the customary landowners deserve. I do not come to the floor of Parliament this afternoon to oppose. I came to build, just as the government has laid the foundation with its words. The BLC will hold it to account with our work. God bless Solomon Islands and guide us in the service of these people. And may this Parliament have the courage to get the basics correct first before we legislate in haste and repent in leisure. God bless. I resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable MP. Let me give the floor to the Honourable Minister for Lands and Housing first, before I come to you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for recognizing the member for South Russell's constituency and the Minister for Lands, Housing and Survey. Mr. Speaker, I want to begin by expressing my appreciation to the Honourable Prime Minister, Matthew Kupawale, for creating this opportunity to discuss the speech from the throne presented by His Excellency the Governor-General. Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank His Excellency for gracing us with his presence at the opening of the meeting and for delivering the speech from the throne on behalf of His Majesty King Charles III. So the speech was well structured, thoughtfully organized, and conveys a sense of hope, purpose, and national renewal, encouraging members of the Parliament and citizens to work together for the betterment of the nation. His Excellency's emphasis on a national motto, "To lead is to serve," instills a deep sense of responsibility and purpose among us leaders. The combination of inspirational messaging, clear goals, accountability, inclusivity, empowerment, cultural pride, and moral grounding contributes to the greatness of the speech from the throne. Mr. Speaker, commenting on some of the specific issues raised by His Excellency in his speech, I'd like to share my reactions on selected pertinent issues before touching on my ministry's policy initiatives, strategies, and programs under our legislative reform agenda. The speech articulates a clear vision for the future of Solomon Islands, focusing on transformative economic development, national unity, and sustainable growth. God's word in Proverbs 29:18 verse 19 says, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." Vision helps to align the efforts of the government and expectations of the citizens. The great coalition government, our government, to reform, empowerment, accountability, and transformation stands firmly behind this vision. The speech also highlights the government's commitment to inclusivity and collaboration with various stakeholders, including our customary landowners, chiefs, churches, provincial governments, civil society, and private sector partners. It indicates a willingness to listen and adapt policies based on genuine feedback, fostering a series of community trust and shared purpose. Mr. Speaker, the call by His Excellency to move away from a culture of entitlement and handouts towards empowerment through good policies encourages citizens to take an active role in their own development. This shift mindset is vital for sustainable progress and reflects a deep respect for the diverse cultures and natural resources of Solomon Islands, promoting a sense of national pride, responsibility among citizens to be custodians of the heritage. In the inclusion of a biblical reference, Genesis 3:19, adds a moral dimension to the speech, reinforcing the idea a hard work and self-reliance, which resonates with many of our citizens. Mr. Speaker, the speech touches on many important issues which my other colleague ministers will be commenting on. The speech makes a strong invitation, strong activities. In my contribution to the debate, I'd like to touch on some of the strategic policies and legislative programs that my ministry will deliver over the next 2 years. The Ministry of Lands, Housing and Survey stands at the center of a national transformation because land is the foundation upon which every aspect of our development depends. Whether we speak about strengthening the rule of law, expanding economic opportunities, improving infrastructure, increasing agricultural production, attracting investment, or promoting social harmony, none of these objectives can be achieved without secure land rights. Effective land governance and fair access to housing. To realize this vision, my ministry intends to commence work on 5 landmark pieces of legislation that will fundamentally reshape land, housing, and coastal governance in Solomon Islands. These bills represent one of the most comprehensive reform programs ever undertaken within the land sector. Number 1, strengthening customary land governance bill. The customary land governance program, spearheaded by the proposed customary land governance bill, is the first major program of our legislative reform. Approximately 85% of the land in Solomon Islands remains under customary ownership. This is both our greatest strength and our greatest responsibility. Customary land is not merely an economic asset. It embodies our traditions, our ancestry, and identify our communities. The Customary Land Governance Bill seeks to strengthen and recognition and protection of customary ownership while providing greater legal certainty for landowners. The proposed legislation will enhance the legal recognition of customary rights and strengthen governance arrangements within customary land holding groups. This program aims to secure land ownership for traditional land holding groups while enabling them to utilize the land for the investment and economic development. A significant development in this reform is encouraging an establishment of community trust fund, ensuring the revenues generated from customary land support education, healthcare, infrastructure, and future generations rather than benefiting only a select few. This reform is about empowering customary landowners, not replacing them. It is about ensuring that development happens with them, not around them. Land Dispute Resolution Bill. Mr. Speaker, a second critical policy area is resolving land disputes. As His Excellency alluded to, peace cannot flourish when land disputes remain unresolved. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission identified land dispute as one of the underlying causes of conflict during our nation's difficult history. Unresolved land disputes continue to undermine social cohesion, delay investment, and divide communities. Our response must therefore be comprehensive and proactive. Say the proposed land dispute resolution bill, developed in partnership with the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs and the Attorney General's chambers, will seek to create a more accessible, culturally appropriate, and efficient system for resolving land disputes, rather than relying solely on lengthy and expensive court proceedings. The legislation will strengthen community-based dispute resolution by recognizing the important role of chiefs, traditional leaders, churches, and local institutions. Our objective is simple, to transform land from a source of conflict into a foundation for reconciliation, stability, and national unity. Unlocking land with inclusive economic growth. Mr. Speaker, protecting customary ownership does not mean preventing development. On the contrary, secure land rights create confidence for investment while ensuring that customary land owners remain active participants in economic progress. This government is committed to expanding agriculture, tourism, fisheries, mining, manufacturing, and downstream processing. Each of these sectors depends upon secure access to land and genuine partnerships with customary owners. Say, through the comprehensive land reform, we aim to establish transparent arrangements that encourage responsible investment while protecting community interests, whether supporting the Binahaba tuna processing project, expanding cocoa and coconut plantations, promoting ecotourism, facilitating renewable energy projects, or establishing conservation areas for carbon markets. Customary landowners must receive fair recognition, meaningful participation, and equal return. The era of unequal partnerships must end. The future belongs to collaboration built on trust, transparency, and shared prosperity. Land Information System Bill. Mr. Speaker, the fourth key program is the modernizing of land administration. For too many years, land administration has relied upon the paper records, fragmented databases, and manual process that create unnecessary delays, increase costs, and reduce public confidence. The proposed Land Information System Bill will modernize land administration through the establishment of a secure, integrated, and fully digital land information system. Say, my ministry will support a comprehensive inventory of various land types, including alienated, customary, and crown lands by utilizing modern GIS technology and updated satellite imagery. This inventory will enhance mapping data and accessibility, encouraging landowners to participate in economic development activities. This comprehensive inventory offers numerous advantages, such as improved land management, sustainable resource utilization, informed decision-making for policymakers, enhanced transparency to prevent corruption, and better disaster preparedness. By digitizing records, we will improve transparency, reduce opportunities for fraud, strengthen public confidence, and provide accurate information for landowners, investors, financial institutions, and government agencies. A modern nation deserves a modern land administration system. National Housing Bill. Mr. Speaker, the fifth program addresses the rapid urbanization that has created significant pressures with Honiara and other growing urban centers. Every Solomon Islander deserves the opportunity to live in a safe, secure, and dignified home. Yet many families continue to live in informal settlements without secure, or adequate access to essential services. This situation demands decisive action. The proposed National Housing Bill will establish a comprehensive framework for housing development, improve coordination across government, encourage affordable housing investment, and strengthen national housing policy. Say illegal squatting in private and public land causes significant problems such as a lack of access to essential services like electricity, water, and sanitation, leading to poor living conditions and health risks. Squatters experience legal uncertainty and eviction threats, causing anxiety and insecurity, straining social relations, and raising disaster vulnerability. Working closely with Governor Province, Honiara City Council, and our development partners, my ministry will continue reforms at improving land administration and extend essential infrastructure to informal settlements. Ministry has already created a task force which includes the Commission of Lands as chairman, representatives from HCC, Honorable Province, and senior lands officers to develop a structured framework that manages quota settlements and ensure consistency, scalability, and community involvement. Our commitment is clear. No community should be left behind. Mr. Speaker, my ministry will also finalize the national housing policy to encourage home ownership. To support this, the government will assist in the creation of land subdivisions with plots available through a tender process and collaborate with private sectors developers to construct affordable housing units. This joint initiative will also involve creating a sustainable rental housing program tailored for public servants working in Honiara and other provincial centers. In collaboration with the Ministry of Public Service, we will implement housing assistance and create a tiered rental system for public officers based on the income levels, providing housing subsidies to establish a fairer and more sustainable rental scheme. Coastal and Marine Governance Bill. Mr. Speaker, our responsibility extends beyond the land to the vast marine environment that sustains our people. Climate change, rising sea levels, coastal erosion, and environmental degradation present growing threats to our communities and national development. The proposed Coastal and Marine Governance Bill will strengthen the legal framework governing coastal management while recognizing and protecting customary sea rights. The legislation will support sustainable coastal planning, strengthen community participation in environment management, and improve reliance against climate-related hazards. Protecting our coasts means protecting livelihoods. Protecting our reefs means protecting food security. Protecting our marine ecosystem means protecting future generations. Say, an important policy initiative by Great Coalition Government is to assist in implementing climate change adaptation strategies for the relocation and resettlement of communities affected by climate change, working in partnership with relevant stakeholders. I thank the International Organization for Migration, IOM, and the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, Disaster Management and Meteorology, MECDM, for the partnership which resulted in a relocation guideline, and work is now progressing on standard operating procedures. As the member of Parliament for Savo-Russell constituency, this project is of paramount importance to me, as many of our low-lying coastal regions and islands face severe environmental threats. My ministry is committed to delivering these relocation projects designed to communities in vulnerable areas, particularly those living in coastal regions prone to tsunamis, cyclones, and rising sea levels. Mr. Speaker, let me briefly reflect this important motion on behalf of my people of Savo-Russell constituency. Say, on behalf of my good people of Savo-Russell constituency, I wish to begin by extending my sincere appreciation to the great government, the government for reform, empowerment, accountability, and transformation. I must say that the speech of the throne delivered by His Excellency the Governor-General is both bold in vision and responsive to the real needs of our nation. Mr. Speaker, the programs and policies presented by great government reflects courage, conviction, and genuine commitment to save. They speak directly to the aspirations of our people for strong, secure, peaceful, and prosperous Solomon Islands. In that spirit, I rise today to express my full unwavering support for this government and its ambitious agenda for change. Mr. Speaker, allow me to highlight 3 key areas that I wish to reflect on the great government policies and programs. I must commend the great government for placing education at the very center of national development. The allocation of approximately 1.4 billion and the planned nationwide rollout of free education policy in 2027 is a historic step forward. For far too long, families in Savo-Russell have shouldered the heavy burden of school fees. This policy lifts that burden. It sends a clear message, and no child will be denied a classroom because of the circumstances of their parents. I also warmly welcome the establishment of the Ministry of Higher Education, Skills Development and Research, the renewed investment in teacher welfare, and the modernization of our curriculum. These are critical foundations for our future workforce. Mr. Speaker, I respectfully urge that we roll out this policy. It be supported by clear regulations and strong monitoring mechanisms. This will ensure that resources reach every classroom, every teacher, and every student in Savo-Russell, without delay and without leakage. Mr. Speaker, the great government's commitment to rehabilitate coconut and cocoa and to drive downstream processing is both timely and transformational. The target of 10,000 hectares of new plantations and the creation of agro-processing investment incentive framework mark the beginning of a new era for our rural economy. Mr. Speaker, Russell Island, as you know, has been the home of cocoa and coconut plantations since the days of the colonial administration and remains so to this day. For generations, these crops have sustained our families and communities. In the light of this, Mr. Speaker, the people of my constituency, Savo Russells, strongly support the great government's intentions to implement this rehabilitation program. We are ready for this, Mr. Speaker. Our land is ready, our farmers are ready, and our communities stand ready to partner with government to make this policy a success. The commitment to connect our smallholders through Commodities Export Marketing Authority to premium markets in Japan, EU, and Australia is a game changer for our people. Mr. Speaker, I commend the great government's clear conviction to Solomon Islands. Solomon Islands must own, process, and profit from our marine resources. The plans to finalize Binahaba expand processing at Noro, establish a national cold storage network, and expand aquaculture and mariculture are strategic, forward-looking, and necessary. As a coastal constituency, Savo Russell to benefit immensely. The support for fisher business, targeted training, improve access to finance, and the goal to double seaweed production by 2028 will create real jobs and real income for our coastal communities, especially our women. I also support the review of Fisheries Management Act 2015 and the strengthening of surveillance against illegal fishing. Mr. Speaker, I respectfully encourage that as we advance this blue economy agenda, resource owners and coastal communities be placed at the heart of these partnerships, with clear legal frameworks that guarantee equity, transparency, and fair benefit sharing. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, the speech from the throne has laid a solid foundation for transformative progress and sustainable growth in Solomon Islands, emphasizing unity, responsibility, and empowerment. As the representative of Savo Russell constituency and the Minister for Lands, Housing and Survey, I am fully committed to advancing our policies and initiatives that align with this vision. Through collaborative efforts, the government bodies, stakeholders, and our communities, we aim to enhance land management, address urban development needs, tackle illegal squatting, and launch programs that foster economic opportunities and environmental resilience. By implementing innovative strategies and leveraging partnerships, we are paving the way for a brighter future for all citizens. Together we build our nation grounded in culture, pride, moral values, and shared prosperity. Let us move forward with confidence and dedication, inspired by His Excellency's call for proactive and inclusive leadership. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to finally take this opportunity to thank my hardworking Permanent Secretary, the heads of departments, and the staff of my ministry for working tirelessly to ensure great coalition policy agenda and immediate reforms are on track and progressing well. With these remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support the motion and I respectfully receive my seat. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Minister for Infrastructure Development and MP for Central Kwara.
Thank you, Speaker, for finally giving an opportunity for the Minister of Infrastructure and the Member of Parliament for Central Kwara, Quacks for Life. I rise to acknowledge and respond to the speech from the throne delivered by His Excellency the Governor-General on the 4th of August, particularly the priorities relating to the transport and infrastructure sector. Before I speak on these matters, I wish to, on behalf of my constituency and my ministry, to congratulate our Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Mati Wale Kupa, on his election as the Prime Minister of the 12th Parliament. I also like to thank him for moving this motion, and also like to acknowledge the Leader of Opposition and the Leader of the Independent. At the outset, I also extend my sincere appreciation to His Excellency the Governor-General for his visionary leadership and continued commitment to the development of transport and infrastructure, which remains fundamental to the national connectivity, economic growth, and the prosperity of our people. Mr. Speaker, as you know, the Ministry of Infrastructure and Development is responsible for the rehabilitation and development of the nation's road networks and bridges. We remain committed to delivering these essential services through the government funding, as well as generous support from our developing partners. Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity to highlight and update this Honourable House and our people on some of the completed and ongoing and future projects under my ministry. This year, under the Solomon Islands Road Aviation Program, SIRAP2, along with the Ministry of Communications and Aviation, we have successfully completed and handed over 4 new bridges in Malaita Province and 10 kilometers of upgrade roads in Noro Town. In addition, contracts have been awarded for the sealing of the 12-kilometer road sections from Bonaru Junction to Kwesilininu, and the upgrading of the 21-kilometer unsealed Malaita East Road from Baratolo to Aitori. Construction of both projects is expected to commence shortly, and furthermore, Mr. Speaker, under the SIRAP, we expect to award the construction of the Few Bridge, which has commenced its tender phase, and hopefully construction will commence later this year. Also, the tender for the Suavanau Airport is also about to close and to be awarded soon for the sealing of the Suavanau Hospital, the airport. Under the Land and Maritime Connectivity Project, the LMCP, my ministry is also expected to complete and hand over the 26.5 kilometers of upgraded roads, which includes the Henderson to Barande Bridge in East Guadalcanal Province, and the White River to HEC Roundabout in Honiara CBD, which is near completion. We've managed to secure some additional fundings, and we are working closely with the Asian Development Bank and the Ministry of Finance to see if we could continue to extend from White River heading downwards the west side. Through the National Transport Fund and the government's development budget, with the support from the Australian government through National Transport Fund, Mr. Speaker, some of the major achievements includes the completion of the 76 kilometers of road maintenance from Auki to Hahui, the sealing of 5 kilometers of Malaita South Road from Koibala to Oibola later this year, the construction of the Uzamba and Barkoma bridges in La Vela. This work is ongoing, is about to commence. Contractor is mobilizing to site, and so we should have construction commencing very soon. We are also constructing 19 kilometers of the Treasure Bay connectivity road, which is expected to complete later this year. We are currently rehabilitating the 12-kilometer Gizo-Seragi road following tropical cyclone Malia's damage. The contract has been formalized, and the contractor is preparing to commence work. Ongoing maintenance of Honiara City roads, including 79 kilometers of emergency response works on feeder roads damaged by tropical cyclone Malia as well. We are also completing the maintenance works of the 6-kilometer in Boko Kimbo to Rovatu Road, with the next phase extending to all the way up to Aula. Award of contract rehabilitation of the 16.5 kilometers of the Eucalyptus Road. That contract has been awarded in South New Georgia, Western Province, and also the award of the contract for the 11-kilometer Tulagi Town Road. That contract also has been awarded and ready to commence. Also, there's an ongoing construction of the phase 2 of the Kaivanga Alolu Road in Isabel Province. And also the continuous rehabilitation of Jejevo Bridge in Buala, which links Buala main station with the school. We're also currently doing scoping for additional bridges and roads in Isabel Province as well. Mr. Speaker, on this note, I wish to acknowledge the government and the people of Australia for their contribution towards the National Transport Fund, the NTF. A lot of these projects would not have been possible for their support. Mr. Speaker, later this year, we look forward to handing over 10 kilometers of the Auki Town Roads Upgrade project, funded by the People's Republic of China. And on that note, Mr. Speaker, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the People's Republic of China, the people and their government for their contribution towards this project, and for the previous governments, successive governments, for their contribution, especially the Leader of Opposition, to this project as well. So thank you so much for all of their contributions to this project. This project aims to be delivered and handed over in November of this year. To alleviate the current traffic congestion problem we experience on a daily basis in Honiara, Mr. Speaker, my ministry, in collaboration with the Asian Development Bank, is embarking on the Honiara Alternative Road Corridor, which is expected to be the second road corridor for Honiara, connecting the existing feeder roads from Lunga to White River. My ministry is now in the process of procuring an engineering firm. We've secured fundings from the Asian Development Bank and so a grant. And so there's a tender going on for a firm to conduct feasibility studies to give us the cost for these projects. Not only that, but we are also coordinating with the Asian Development Bank for the rehabilitation of White River to Lambi Road, as I've mentioned earlier today, on the west side. I'm happy to inform this Honourable House that the Ministry is expected to receive engineering reports from the engineering consultant in October of 2026. Upon receiving this report, my Ministry will further look at implementing arrangements to expedite these projects. Now, this one is the main project from White River to Lambi. It's about 60 kilometers. Feasibility is almost complete, but in the interim, we've managed to secure some funding for at least we can start the work heading down west side while we wait for the feasibility here for finish, and then we continue go kasi Lambina. So people blame Lambi, especially those who supply Honiara with our markets can have easy access to markets and especially women. So that's one of the things that we're currently working on. Especially second Guadalcanal province just celebrated their second appointed day. So these are some of the gifts that we as a government and as leaders are working on supporting our people in Guadalcanal. Mr. Speaker, we thank you for the funding and support of the government. I'm also planning to carry out a few big investment works through our local contractors in sections of Honiara in 2026. One of them is the road from Florence Young to Coleridge. This year we managed to secure an additional 30 million from the Australian government for the National Transport Fund. One of the main roads that we'll be focusing on is asphalting from Florence Young, Guablo Gigi, so that the next motion more if I go shown in, but road just smooth a little bit for the next motion. Also, we are looking at asphalting the Hibiscus Avenue here, lower Kosaplo Hibiscus Apartments, the NPF Hibiscus Apartments. Mr. Speaker, under the course 2 projects, my ministry will also be upgrading the Vura to Naha Clinic Road and the White River Loop. So the Vura, to my good people who reside in East Honiara, especially Vura, we are pushing the consultants to quickly speed up the, we were expecting to go out to tender in July, but because of the delays caused by some of the implementing agencies, this contract is expected to go out to tender in September. So once that's done, constructions will commence immediately. But current investigations in terms of geotech and all that for the drainages and the main roads have been done. So our primary focus is to asphalt team now from runabout Lovura, all the way go up first time, Kasimna, lo birthing center, so that Mami will go up for go looking doctor or go deliver, they're having smooth access roads up to our hospital. So we are hoping that by September we should go to tender, and by November, December, we should start construction on those roads. This is proper asphalt now and proper drainages. Same with those of you residing in Tasahe and Ngosi. We are going to be sealing that full road from the runabout or Rovea all the way up to Kasim Tasahe, around down Tasahe Bigo, Kasim na 02 or 01 bus stop, that whole loop there. So that is also going to be sealed. We're hoping to go to tender in September as well, and we're hoping construction can start this year, if not by harvesting early next year now. But these are the priorities of my ministry in terms of Honiara roads. My ministry is also not forgetting our people in the West, has not forgotten our people in the Western Province and Treasure Province who were affected by tropical cyclone Maila. In the past months, my ministry is putting together a team of engineers to visit the provincial roads and carry out assessments on the extent of the infrastructure damages and make recommendations to rectify it. We're hoping we can quickly get down the team so that if I say input is at budget November, so that next year we can rehabilitate those roads that are affected by cyclone Maila. Mr. Speaker, the establishment of the Public Works Department, PWD, remains one of my ministry's highest priorities for 2026 and 27. We are making significant progress towards restoring the department, strengthening the government's capacity to directly deliver infrastructure maintenance and construction services. Later this month, a key group will be traveling to Fiji to learn from the authorities, the Public Works Department, and other infrastructure bodies that are operating. At the same time, my ministry will be renovating provincial works offices to accommodate the established PWD, while also planning for the establishment of its headquarters here in Honiara. In addition, we are assessing the equipment, machinery, staffing, and technical capacity required to effectively support PWD's operation throughout Honiara and other provinces. And this one here, we're being cautious about it, because one of the reasons why PWD was abolished as a star was because sustainability was an issue. So we, as a ministry, we're looking at how best, if we establish PWD, how can we sustain it so that maintenance can continue on. Then later, him die back more. So our ministry is working on that. But we're hoping by 2027, that's our target, we should establish PWD, and they will be actively maintaining roads, especially here in Honiara and other provinces where Garamota big number of kilometers in terms of kilometers of roads. As an archipelagic nation, maritime transport is the lifeline of Solomon Islands. It is essential for connecting our islands and ensuring the movement of our people, goods, services throughout the country. My ministry continues to construct new wharves while maintaining existing maritime infrastructures to improve connectivity and enhance resilience against the impacts of climate change. Later this year, my ministry expects to complete the handover to the new Kirakira Wharf, funded by in partnership with the Asian Development Bank under the Land and Maritime Connectivity Project, and the Ahanga New Wharf in Bellona Island, and also the new construction of the Honiara Bird One International Port. Works on the Honiara Bird Ones are ongoing and are on track to complete in later part of 2027. I'm happy to also inform this Honourable House that under our development budget allocation, our ministry is constructing 2 new wharves in provinces by our local contractors. One will be in Sigana, in Isabel Province, and the other will be in Moli, Treasure Province. Not only that, but my ministry is also carried out design works for the Vero Wharf. Design has completed with costings, and hopefully we can secure funds for 2027 for the construction of the Vero Wharf. On the maintenance front, our ministry continues to work plan and carry out maintenance works on our wharves in all provinces. The establishment of the International Shipping Registry remains a key policy commitment for the great coalition government. My ministry has been working closely with Solomon Islands Maritime Authority to review and amend the necessary legislations and policies to facilitate, establish an international recognized shipping registry in the Solomon Islands. Mr. Speaker, sir, my ministry, together with the Solomon Islands Infrastructure Program, is implementing the construction of the new Prime Minister's official residence. I am pleased to inform this House that the recruitment of the lead design consultant has been completed, and the consultants mobilized to Solomon Islands last month and started the design for the building. At the same time, the expression of interest has just closed yesterday, so we have last week, so we've managed to get the interested contractors. Therefore, tender is expected to go out soon with the delivery of the Prime Minister's residence scheduled to complete before our 50th anniversary in 2028. So yes. And also, Mr. Speaker, last year my ministry has successfully passed the National Building Code and the Standards Act together with the National Building Code. These important reforms will improve building safety, accessibility, health standards, and overall quality of construction throughout the Solomon Islands. In addition to this, my ministry is reviewing both the Road Transport Act and the Road Act to ensure that reflects modern practices to strengthen road safety, protect public infrastructures, and meet future transport needs in our country. We will also be aiming to table the Roads, Drainage and Bridges Bill, hopefully by the end of this year or early next year. This legislation, Mr. Speaker, will give us a bit more authority and basically a bit more teeth to bite when it comes to illegal parking, illegal constructions along the sides of the road, and also for us to control our easements. One of the issues that we continue to face and the challenges as managing, especially the responsible ministry for managing traffic and transport, is that our legislations are outdated, and that it's not giving us the power to apprehend and to issue fines, and therefore these legislative reforms my ministry is now conducting are important for this, and we hopefully will table them soon, so that you mancha pakarage no mati MP mi you go fine na ton trackable, even you too, Speaker. So these legislations are important. Anyways, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I reaffirm my ministry's unwavering commitment to the implementation and the priorities outlined by the speech from the throne. We remain committed to delivering safe, reliable, resilient, and sustainable infrastructures and transport services that promotes economic growth, strengthens national connectivity, improves the quality of life of our people, and support inclusive development. My ministry will continue to ensure that gender equality, climate resilience, environment sustainability, and social inclusion remain integral components of our policies, programs, infrastructure investments. With these remarks, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for giving me the opportunity. I do support the motion and respectfully resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. I give the floor to the Honourable Minister for Health and Medical Services and MP for East Honiara.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, for allowing me the opportunity to take the floor. I rise to respond to the speech from the throne and to the government's commitment to the health and well-being of the people of Solomon Islands. I begin by acknowledging His Excellency the Governor-General for the address delivered to this Honourable House. The speech has set out the clear direction for our country, that development must reach our villages, our families, and every citizen, wherever they live. In no area is that principle more important than the area of health. Honourable Speaker, good health is not a privilege for those who live near hospitals. those that have money for transport or can afford medicine from private pharmacies. But health is a right of all human beings. A mother in Weather Coast, a child in the outer islands of our country, the elderly person down at Choiseul, or a family in Temotu, and a worker in Honiara must all be able to rely on a health system that is present when they need it most. That is the standard this government has set for itself. The speech from the throne makes clear that government is committed to universal health coverage through quality health facilities that can provide the full continuum of essential health services. This is a serious commitment. It means strengthening prevention, primary care, provincial services, referral services, medicine laboratories, workforce capacity, and emergency preparedness at the same time. We cannot build a strong health system while neglecting the rural clinics, nor can we expect provincial hospitals to cope if medicines do not reach them, if nurses lack accommodation, or if patients are forced to travel long distances for services that should be available closer to home. Our approach must be connected from the community to the clinic, from the clinic to the area health centers, and from provincial hospitals to the National Referral Hospital. Honourable Speaker, the first test of the health system is simple. When a patient arrives at the clinic or hospital, are the essential medicines available? Too many Solomon Islanders have experienced frustration of traveling for hours, sometimes by boat and sometimes on foot, only to find that the medicine is unavailable. This causes suffering for patients, places unbearable pressure on health workers, and weakens public confidence in our health system. The Ministry of Health and Medical Services will therefore strengthen supply chain governance and work towards full availability of essential medicines and medical supplies at every level of care. This means improving procurement, storage, forecasting, distribution, stock monitoring, and accountability. It means making sure medicines reaches the facilities that needed them, not merely arriving at the central warehouse. And it means addressing wastage, expiry, and leakage wherever they occur. The Ministry will also strengthen its partnership with other sectors, provinces, suppliers, development partners, and communities, because a medicine supply system cannot work through one office alone. It must work all the way down the supply chain. Honourable Speaker, primary health care will be at the centre of our work. For many of our people, the first contact with the health system is not the National Referral Hospital. It is the rural health clinic, a nurse aid post, an area health centre, a community health worker, or a nurse serving a remote village. These frontline services must be treated as the foundation of national health, not as an afterthought. The government under my ministry will rehabilitate closed clinics and upgrade area health centres so they can provide more reliable and comprehensive primary health care services. This includes maternal and child health, immunization, family planning, nutrition, treatment of common illnesses, management of non-communicable diseases, mental health, health education, and early referral for patients who need specialist care. We will work with provincial health authorities to identify the health facilities in greatest need of rehabilitation and to ensure that investment are matched with staffing, equipment, water supply, communication, and maintenance. A building alone does not provide health care. A health facility must have trained people, medicines, equipment, and a reliable system around it. Honourable Speaker, provincial hospitals must be able to do more for the people they serve. The government is committed to strengthen hospitals such as Kilufi and Giso, recognizes a simple fact. Not every patient should have to travel to Honiara for care that can safely be provided in the provincial centres. We will support the development of specialist and referral services closer to communities, including improved diagnostics, surgical capacity, maternal care, and treatment for chronic conditions. This will reduce pressure on the National Referral Hospital, reduce the cost and hardship of travel for families, and allow patients to receive care near to their support networks. At the same time, Mr. Speaker, sir, the National Referral Hospital will continue its development towards a fully fledged tertiary institution. The government will work to expand diagnostic capacity, strengthen the specialists and subspecialist training, improve patient flow, and support better clinical outcomes. But the future of National Referral Hospital cannot be measured only by new buildings or equipment. It must be measured by whether patients receive safe, dignified, and timely care, whether our health workers have the tool to do their job, and whether the hospital is managed with discipline, transparency, and respect for the public that it serves. Honourable Speaker, we must also place greater emphasis on prevention. A healthy country is not built only in hospitals. It is built through clean water, sanitation, nutritious food, safe homes, immunization, maternal care, disease surveillance, health education, and communities that are supported to make healthy choices. The government will increase investment in public health because prevention is kinder, more effective and less costly than waiting until illnesses become severe. We will strengthen immunization, nutrition, productive health, school health, environmental health, and community-based health promotions. We will also continue to address the growing burden of non-communicable diseases, including diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and cancers. So these diseases are placing more pressure on families and on the health system of our country. They cannot be addressed by clinical services alone. We need healthier diets, more physical exercise, reduced tobacco and harmful alcohol use, early screening and treatment, and better public understanding of the risks. Honourable Speaker, malaria remains one of the major public health challenges facing Solomon Islands. And the government has committed to eliminate malaria by 2038. This is an ambitious target, but ambition is necessary when the health and lives of our people are at risk. Achieving elimination will require sustained work. Mosquito control, testing, treatment, surveillance, community awareness, strong laboratory services, and close cooperation with provinces and communities. It will require us to reach every affected area and ensure that no remote community is left outside the national effort. We will build on the work already done by health workers, communities, partners, and previous government and programs. We will bring renewed focus, strong data, and reliable supplies to the task. Honourable Speaker, mental health can no longer be treated as an issue to be discussed only in private after a problem has occurred. Many Solomon Islanders live with depressions, anxiety, trauma, substance-related illnesses, and other mental health conditions without adequate support. Families often carry this burden alone. Stigma keeps people silent, and services remain limited. The government is committed and will confront mental health openly and with compassion. We will work towards mental health facilities and services in our provinces, strengthen training for health workers, support community-based cares, and improve referral pathways for people in crisis. The planned relocation of the National Psychiatric Unit to Honiara is part of the commitment to provide more appropriate, accessible, and dignified care. Mental health is health. It deserves the same seriousness as any other conditions. Honourable Speaker, the strength of the health system rests on the people who serve in it. Our doctors, nurses, midwives, dentists, pharmacists, laboratory technicians, community health workers, environmental health officers, administrators, cleaners, and many others that carry a heavy responsibility. They serve long hours, often in difficult conditions, and sometimes far from their families. They deserve our respect, fair treatment, proper training, and the equipment needed to serve their communities well. The government will strengthen the health workforce through improved planning, education, professional development, and incentive for rural services. We must retain our skilled health workers and encourage talented young Solomon Islanders to pursue health careers. We must also make it possible for those posted to rural areas to live and work with dignity. Honourable Speaker, the government will advance digital health as part of a more reliable and responsive health system. Digital tools can help us know what medicine are in stock, track disease outbreak, improve patient records, support reporting from remote facilities, and connect rural health workers to specialist advice. Technology will not replace nurses or doctors or health workers, but used properly, it can make their work easier and help the ministry make better decisions with the resources available. The government will pursue digital health in a practical way, aligned with the country's wider digital transformation agenda, and mindful of the need to protect personal information and ensure that rural communities are not excluded. The immediate task now is to finalize development of the National Digital Health Strategy. Honourable Speaker, the health of our people is also linked to our ability to respond quickly to outbreaks, disasters, and emergencies. Solomon Island is exposed to cyclones, floods, earthquakes, tsunamis, and disease outbreaks. Recent global events have shown that no country can take preparedness for granted. The government will reinforce epidemic preparedness, strengthen surveillance and response systems, and improve coordination between national and provincial health authorities. The National Public Health Laboratory will be strengthened towards international accreditation. This will ensure that communities, schools, clinics, markets, food businesses have access to test services that can rapidly identify contaminations and enable timely action. The laboratory will also play a very direct role in supporting food producers and exporters by helping them meet strict sanitary, phytosanitary, and food safety requirements, creating greater opportunities for Solomon Islands products such as fishery, cocoa, coconut products, kava, seaweed, root crops, and fresh produce to access international market. Honourable Speaker, governance of the health system will be strengthened through amendments and creation of new health laws. The Principal Health Law, the Health Service Act, has undergone policy consultations, and drafting instructions are now being prepared for submission to the Attorney General's chamber. The government will also progress several health legislations, which include the Health Service Bill, amendments to the Dangerous Drugs Act, amendments to the Pure Food Act, amendments to the Tobacco Control Act, and a new mental bill before the House, this Honourable House. These reforms will help provide a strong legal and institutional basis for the work ahead. This demonstrates the government's commitment to improving governance of the health system. Honourable Speaker, none of this commitment can be delivered by the Ministry of Health and Medical Services alone. Health is shaped by education, housing, water and sanitation, food security, climate resilience, women's safety, youth opportunity, and strong communities. A child cannot learn well when they are malnourished. A family cannot stay healthy without clean water. A woman cannot access antenatal care if transport is unavailable. A clinic cannot function if it has no power, no communication, or no medicine. This is why the health agenda outlined in the speech from the throne is connected to the wider program of government. Its investments in roads, wharves, rural electrification, communication, education, agriculture, and safe communities are also investments in health. We also recognize the immense contribution of churches, community leaders, civil society organizations, development partners, provincial governments, and families. Churches have long been among the most trusted providers and supporters of health services in Solomon Island, and I salute them today for the great well done. Our partnership with them will remain strong. Communities themselves are not passive recipients of care. They are vital partners in prevention, awareness, preparedness, and the protection of the vulnerable. Honourable Speaker, the government's health agenda is ambitious because the needs of our people are real. We will not pretend that every problem can be solved overnight. We face constraints in financing, staffing, geography, infrastructure, and logistics. Our islands are far apart. Our resources are limited. But these difficulties cannot be excuses for accepting a health system that leaves people behind. The people of Solomon Islands do not ask for perfection. They ask for a health service that can be trusted, a clinic that is open, a nurse who is supported, medicine that are available, safe childbirth, a timely response in an emergency, and care that treats every person with dignity. That is what this government is determined to build. I would like to thank His Excellency for the speech from the throne. I thank the Honourable Prime Minister and Cabinet colleagues for placing health at the heart of the government's programme. And I thank the health workers across our country who continue to serve, often quietly and under difficult circumstances, in the name of the people of Solomon Islands. May God guide this Honourable House as we work together for a healthier and a stronger and more secure Solomon Island. Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and now by Mr. Down. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Let me give the floor first to the Honourable MP for Central Guadalcanal and leader of the independent group.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for recognizing me. Thank you, colleague, Minister for Planning, for the opportunity to give me. Mr. Speaker, I rise to contribute to the motion of thanks for the speech from the throne delivered by His Excellency the Governor-General. And but firstly, I'd like to make some acknowledgement. Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister, for moving this motion here on the floors of Parliament, and congratulations too for being elected as Prime Minister of our country. Congratulations also as well to the member of South New Georgia, I think, for assuming the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, voted unopposed. And I'd like to also congratulate Guadalcanal Province for attending their 42nd anniversary on the 1st of August, to the Premier and the Executive and people of Guadalcanal for that achievement, sir. And also, sir, I'd like to thank the Makira-Ulava Province, the Premier, his Executive, and the people of Makira for attending their second appointed day on the 4th of August as well, sir. Congratulations to both of you. So on behalf of my group, the Independent, and my people of Central Guadalcanal, we would like to express our sincere appreciation to His Excellency for faithfully discharging his constitutional duty in presenting the government's legislative and policy agenda at this Honorable House. Mr. Speaker, the speech from the throne presents an ambitious vision for Solomon Islands. It outlines commitments to strengthen governance, revitalize the economy, modernize infrastructure, improve health and education. We just heard from the Minister of Health, and earlier on we heard from the Minister of Education. Safeguard national security, advance constitutional reform, strengthen our engagement with the international community, sir. So if you look, sir, you will see that a lot of the members on the other side of the House were in the previous government. And I'm pleased to hear and listen to ministers saying that they continue with the work from the previous government, sir. Last week on Friday, we went to Tenaru School to launch and hand over the last of the 61 broadband towers that I started 2 terms ago. It takes time to develop these things and take time to build them. And I thank the Minister for Communication and Innovation to continue with the work that has been done by previous governments. So all this work, sir, in my view, is mainly prioritizing what needs to be done. And here we have a government that prioritizes things according to what the speech from the throne has said. And it's good that we look at it, and there's a lot of things that seem known. Now I think the biggest challenge now is coming to terms with what na bang costing me for running what activities here. Come down the budget money. So all the ministers will be fighting for their portion of the budget. This cake, one for piece cake, no man. How we divide this cake will depend entirely on the cabinet and caucus for dividing what the different ministries so that they are enabled to run with their programs. So these aspirations that we just reading come and has been echoed across this side of the House and the other side of the House, have aspiration that every Solomon Islanders with a like for embracing it. And the ambitions alone and by the transformation, yes, the true measure of any government is not the promises it makes, but the promises it fulfills. In the last government, there were a lot of promises too, but we were not able to fulfill them. And the previous government in the previous House, the 11th House, same too. And that's the nature of things and nature of government that Imran said. And I'm happy that we have a good team on the other side. And by the end of the year, 6 months' time, we'll be able to see what they can achieve with the new budget and the new prioritization work that the government has said. Mr. Speaker, much has been said, and in the interest of time, I'll touch on issues that come to the core of my heart and to the core of my constituency and my people. So, sir, our constitutional responsibility is not merely to applaud worthy intentions, but to determine whether they are supported by sound policy, realistic implementations, sustainable financing, and the political will to deliver. And Prime Minister Mikol, you say, if we have the political will to advance our programs and policies that you line in before Mifola. Mifola, the independent group, and as their leader, Mifola approaching to some debate in that spirit, sir. In the spirit and the purpose that we parliamentarians are made to debate these issues and what is best for country, believe me. So that responsibility has been entrusted not only to the government side, but to the independent group, the opposition group, and all 15 members of parliament. And that is our mandate, to ensure that service delivery and go down to the people that deserves this service delivery. So we are not here to oppose for the sake of opposition, nor to endorse every proposal without question. Our commitment is to principled, constructive, and responsible leadership. When you look at the acronym below government, great ever. The last word look greater, transformation. And if you look at GNAT, the last word then transformation too. So they're almost similar in nature of things that we're doing. How we achieve it, maybe different ways of budgeting, different ways of prioritizing, and so on. So the principle of good governance is very important, and placing the significant emphasis on strengthening democratic institutions, parliamentary autonomy, judiciary independence, integrity in public administration, and public sector reform. So government, me commend me for this commitment. And me for independent group stand, not to oppose, but perhaps to enhance and support where support is needed. One of the problem, Mr. Speaker, as you know, you former member to the Parliament, so the separations of power remains one of the cornerstone of our constitutional democracy. Parliament, sir. We have the executive, we have the judiciary, and we also have the legislation, sir, which is, of course, the Parliament. So yet under this Westminster system, the executive is drawn from Parliament, often blurred a distinction between legislative oversight and executive authorities. And apart from the member for South Treasure, who has been here before and long before any of us, he may now some 6 terms, some 5 terms, I think him 7 or 8 terms, I think.
Before East Choice also.
East Choice also.
Yeah, that's it.
I beg, I withdraw the word, but a member for East Choice also. Thank you. So we have seen this one, that every time the executive seems to blur the distinction between legislative oversight and also the executive authority to serve. When time I vote of no confidence, even Sahuna should call him Parliament, not the legislation. Is it the executive should call the Parliament? Is it you, sir, in charge of legislation, or is it the Governor-General? So it's kind of a blurry that we don't know where the distinction is, executive, legislation, or what. So now that we immediately here, we need to make a clear distinction as to who should call Parliament when there is an emergency to call Parliament. And you would all agree with me that there must be, go to court, we spend time, we spend money, we spend energy, Google Court. So this is an important issue that we like for raising the Parliament. So, but good governance also demands strong institutions. And we welcome the Prime Minister's reaffirmation of the zero-tolerance approach to corruption. We should utilize our institutions, that is Solomon Islands Commission Against Corruption, the Leadership Code Commission, the Office of the Ombudsman, the Office of the Auditor General. These institutions must be made to be effective so that they can effectively discharge their mandates, that they need to be adequately resourced, empowered, and protected. Sir. Without the capacity to investigate, enforce, and report independently, accountability becomes an aspiration rather than a reality. Sir. One of the key word law, the great is accountability. Sir. So these are mechanisms of accountability. And as Mr. Talem, and repeating myself, the Prime Minister's reaffirmation of zero tolerance, deciding for welcome. The commitment and deserving support, standards must be applied consistently, and integrity must not be selective. And good governance is not a measure by speeches delivered in this chamber. It is a measure of transparency, sir. The public service reform, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I'm good that the government have come up with this one, to build a modern, professional, and motivated public service through leadership development and remuneration reform. A nice one, sir, because in any government, their success lies in the mechanism of governance. And the mechanism of governance, public service. Otana man run every program or ministry. All we do is we pass the budget, we pass the policy and the work program, then we hand it over to the administration, which is the ministry, the public service. They deliver. And if they not deliver, then a ministry, by mistake, fail to deliver service to the people of this country. And that's why me supporting this one, public service reform. Another issue, bro, you mean is time management. And with all due respect to the problems that we have of transport and road and also where Minister of Law Infrastructure is talking about, still, in the days where our colonial masters is here, even MC 8 o'clock, even Bangalore 8 o'clock the office. You know how past 8? No 9 o'clock, not 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock. And that's the measure of standard that we must go back to. The measure of standard that has been left by our colonial masters, that have, over the years, have degraded now. And even work ethics, even respect to leaders, local government, are no longer there. And it's a sad thing. And I'm happy that this government, Prime Minister, you go kick now. Yeah? If you say no more, you shape up or you ship out. Same or same. If the public service does not shape in a lot of programs, ship him out. Simple or same. Me give you advice now, Prime Minister. You know, for kicking Mandlo, but you, yeah, make sure that they have something. Mr. Speaker, our public service continues to face excessive bureaucracy, inefficiency, service delivery, inefficient service delivery, low morale, insignificant capacity constraints. Public service have to wait a long time too for fair remuneration. And it's time that we look at the cost of living, COLA, as well as how we can motivate these people to be effective for the purpose that we Milaki want for doing. Mr. Speaker, the independent group people are reviewing the call for the establishment of an independent National Wages and Remuneration Commission. It's a good one, sir. If you look at if you compare him with the salary structures, believe me, public service here, the private sectors here, quite a big contrast. A CEO, for example, of NPF will be getting much, much more than the Prime Minister. Much, much more. So all this, the higher salary pay, we really look at them so that them be fair and just. So, me happy because I'm demonstrate this call demonstrates not only willingness but willingness to critically reform what is need to be reformed inside the public service. Mr. Speaker, in come down to economy now, as me say, in the interest of time. So our economy, sir, remains the greatest concern of ordinary Solomon Islanders. Families that continue to struggle within the rising cost of living. Businesses faces increased operational costs in utilities, power, water, and the running costs. Young people continue to search for employment, and many communities still wait for meaningful economic opportunities beyond our urban centers. The government has announced an ambitious economic agenda encompassing fiscal discipline, tax reform, sovereign wealth fund, the revival of the National Bank, downstream processing, increased investment, and economic diversification. These incentives deserve support, and so we are supporting what the things that the government and black for doing. The question before us are straightforward. How will this reform be financed? As I said earlier, the cake will be divided, the pie will be divided, and different ministries will be having different portion of the pie. And what now the implementation timelines once you get your piece of cake for the implementation of your program, and which commitments will be delivered before the next general election. That is something that every minister, you earmarking which ones now you like to focus on and which one you want to achieve, so that you can go before the general election and say, yes, we have delivered, and this is it. So, our ordinary Solomon Islanders are experiencing, how will our ordinary Solomon Islanders experience the tangible improvement in their daily lives? Mr. Speaker, we live in the town of Minister of Finance and the government of the Lulu clan. We will be watching from this side of the House to ensure that you are on your toes and delivering to our people. The productive and resource sector, sir. So I'm happy to Mr. Minister of Agriculture, who spoke about his continuing program, Lokoko, secure our food sovereignty. And then there's a new thing. I think it has been there before, not really prioritized. The germplasm center for climate resilient for our traditional crops. These are important considerations, Minister, and me say we continue with him with agricultural priorities, please. one thing that me hearing me tell them is about 50 agricultural officers, the 50 constituencies. Black pointy mat nama that me follow Malay out island, what the friends lo there. By me so what can agriculture na by me officer bago dream lo there. Maybe they are well off with a fisheries officer for helping water with him fish farming or seaweeds and things like that. But certainly not a cocoa, coconut or other fruit crops that the Minister of Agriculture has doing. And he has an ambitious program for making a lot of cocoa, replant, rehabilitating with old coconuts and building and planting new coconuts and cocoa. But I'm nice, making the people believe you work. They work. You remember time you go to school. So if I become education, I think I'm living the time. People work so hard to achieve things. And time what achieving things, oh man, what a happy for good. Today, people lay back, lazy. We're not doing much with our time. We're not doing much with our land. We're not doing much with our resources. Waiting easy money for come. And that's the sad side of our people, sir. When the government them like doing things, moving things, the side of agriculture, fisheries, the side of forestry, the mining sector, and all the productive sector and resource sector, people blame you to lay back and waiting no more. Oh, you waiting royalty or forestry sector, mining sector, and the land issue, or the land and fishery sectors, believe me. So this is making our people lazy for good. So in terms of agriculture again, I think need for you to be prioritizing which constituency will be able to make the most of the agricultural product there. The North Gorkanal, they have one of the central Gorkanal, extensive plains, believe in the country. And this could be good for water crops like rice and water cassava. And I'm happy that the the member for North Gorkanal is paving the way for the agricultural products. And I think he's leading in that sense. And I think SEMA too, we need to relook at how SEMA is operating. Because I would have thought that what the farmers become the operators, SEMA becomes the regulator, the ministry becomes the policy making and the budget of SEMA. But anyway, it's up to the government to see how we position. So that if we continue with the downstream processing, cocoa, and value addition, what the dried and what the food crops, believe me. So cocoa, coconut, seaweed, kava, and other primary products, keeping the value chain in the village. So the forestry sector, when I read the speech here, this one talk of 30 how many years? And 2032, by him, logging by him, phase out. Law 2032, Sanfalimi by no exist, I think. Sanfalimi by he said lo grave or something, say. It's quite long, sir. And me thinking the sooner the better. The sooner the better, sir. So that no good by the time you come 2032, we will have all this forest, but no any tree inside. So him was about a man, you jump into the forest, but you miss the tree. Because no any tree lo there now. Forest, no way me call him forest. And Minister of Forestry, I'm releasing company. You guided me, Milo, this one, sir. It is a very important sector. It has been our mainstay of economy of the country, logging for a very, very long time, sir. Now we have mining coming up. Mining coming up, sir. So mining, I made a comment last time the north side of the house, and I was not happy in the manner in which the ministry got to look after the mining sector, sir. And I'm happy that the new minister, the new minister is here. And I hope he can change things. You see me like him with the changes. So the mining sector, immigrant got a mining plan. We have environmental assessment, impact assessment. We have management of tailings dam. We have the waste management, the industrial waste management, the tailings waste, and so on and so forth. So as you look at the mining ministry, what the mining management plan look at are drawn from the previous company, the Ross Mining and St. Barbara. There's no new mining plan that this company is making. None, sir. So we call the minister. We follow up with this one. And that's why they are doing things that have no follow to Mining Act, me too. And the ministry should be there monitoring every single week what is happening up there. Minister, you release income. There's a lot of things that have happened that we are not on top of it. In fact, we are losing, we lag behind while the company is advancing forward. This one concentrate there. The concentrate of the crushing, then put several chemical them, then they call them concentrate, and then not export them. It's not in the mining plan. Mining plan, blame me for me, producing bar gold. It might be 80% gold, another 20% whatever else, silver or what. But the point is, follow mining plan. And the ministry, you are in charge of ensuring that the operators, the mining operators, whether it's gold, it's bauxite or nickel, follow now mining plan. So you go up to Gold Ridge. We have an accident recently. And it's sad. So many people up there, 3,000 people up there, sir, illegal miners. You know, when we lease the land, before landowner leasing land, before leasing come the government, hem no care lo hand blue. So we forfeit our right for go up there, lo lease there, the mining lease, and the special prospecting lease is there. We forfeited what are paying premium, land rental, tambu sites, grave sites, loss of fishing rights, loss of hunting rights. Payment, we forfeit our rights. But today, you're looking at everyone on top of there now. That's why we call for the help of the government. And the law enforcement people blame me. None other than the police. For what I call help out. Removing what the people so that the company can do its work properly without fear of harming people. Any accident may happen, so that compensation claim by coming more and so forth. So the government, if all subleasing go down law company, there's a long line of successive lease transfer from Saracen, Rose Mining, St. Barbara, and now come to this one company below one go. Money one go. So, let me say, we have to be careful of how one go. So maybe like say, when we started Rose Mining, people got to respect him law. None of them were in the pits. No man. Before the boom house, we got to move out. Today, no matter how much you talk, the chief talk hard too. So we don't want to take the laws into our own hands. No more. and chase people out. Conflict by happen. So immediately by the law enforcement, Prime Minister, moving what up, using what a committee and a Minister of Mines, re-establishing this committee, so that go helping company law, moving with the people. So I'm almost finished now, but me like a little bit touched to my law, education, sir. Education. Whilst people what are receiving with gladness the policy of free education. Free education, the current Prime Minister who was member of, who was the Minister of Education then, yeah, under the secure, and bring him come to us. I think me, Minister of Commerce or something was him, yeah. So he brought it through. And today as Prime Minister, he bring it in now. So me happy to must have here in South Gorakanal to talk today, the member for South Gorakanal. What a wait for this one. Two things no me garam for maybe if also garam answers for him when in your response, Prime Minister. One, by him sustainability blame no. How will you sustain the free education thing? Then secondly, by creating a society of lazy people, dependent on government, yeah, dependent on the resources of government. So like me say, South Gorakanal, Minister of Education, Agriculture say, them go full out for the coconut rehabilitation and new plants, making people work. Then come along free education and making people lazy. Before time, before and I think most of us, or some of us, copraba for school fee. And now fathers and mothers then were struggling. But when we came out in graduate and come back, they were so happy. Because of the hard work, it paid off. And that's the kind of happiness that I'm liking. No happiness no say, oh, next year, no worry, mommy, into for a steady no more. Government by paying school fee, blow son, or daughter. It creates a society that I'm lazy and I'm dependent. The government say. Have no more for something that one of the downside of it no more. So, in any government, for we pay more the school fee free, already 1 billion law current budget say. Where does this revenue come from? Revenue come from the tax. A lot of people, business houses, other donors here from taxpayer about that too. So when you really look at it technically, it's not as free as you would think it is. Because somebody, somewhere along the line, is paying the tax for this one. So I have no also something that me look at me say, oh, me like for raising law here. This is the place that I'm raising and debating with the things here. And I know, Prime Minister, you will have a response to that time you respond come law what the issues that this side of the House have raised. So, to hold signal, then we finish now, sir. Three. One falana infrastructure. One Minister for Infrastructure, you come. I'm so happy that he's continuing with the airports, or the roads, under law Sirapia, where he started, and the Minister of Aviation here continue with him that one. Me a little bit not happy with when we submitted, Central Gorakanal submitted for a bridge construction. Lomaltoha. What I lose him my proposal. Now I ask him more for proposal. So me go give him what. Me will wait for me listen out and say, oh, Maltoha Road, a Maltoha Bridge, time for building. Why I say this, Mr. Speaker, I am simply of same no one. Before Central Gorakanal, if I contribute much to the economy of this nation. We will feed in national economies and also central North Gorkana. We having no anything written come lo mifal no. Even the road lo maltoha, hem under lo MID. He asks for the game come. I have the machines to do it. Number two. So this is where it really concerns me, sir, that we feed the economy of this country, and yet, no looks are mifal. What time? What time? And let me ask him, sir. Sir, look at the residential houses here. PM, you must get a residence, an official residence. If you go around the Pacific, go around the world, you become a resident that is dedicated officially to the Prime Minister. And he may like adding too, Speaker of Parliament must get a residence to official residence, the Speaker of Parliament. And then Chief Justice. The three heads of the arms of government, the country bring say. And Mr. Speaker, I hope the Minister of Infrastructure is listening, because you say, previous years, of a man with the wife to come, will say, Honorable, me like you see machine blow you. Me say, why? Or me take a contract lo MID for walking road. Then me say, how never take a contract when you don't have a piece of machine to work with? So, Mr. Speaker, I like a minister who really look low the tender process here and the award of the tender process here. Because, my what? How could you award somebody with a contract of $2 million, $3 million when he has no machine? And no good. We need to relook at this one and ensure that it's PMMC value for money. That's it, value for money. I'll leave it at that, sir. I'm going to land and resources owner, land. Me happy to Mr. Minister and talk, and he's not there, but he said something as land is fundamental to all social and economic development. Me agree, I totally agree. But when you look at how our land tenure system is happening, even land is alienated. Meaning, you man own land, you are here. You own the land and resources. Time come, alienation come for demarcation, understand? They remove you out of your land. You're alienated, and somebody else now comes to apply there. So our law is a law of alienation, law land blaming. And we need to relook at how now this law of alienation is affecting land blaming. Sir, me agree law the bills that the 6 bills that the minister by bringing come. One thing no that me little bit of no agree lens. The Minister of Home Affairs and bringing come cabinet paper to cabinet on the new site for grave site. Like putting go Tenaru somewhere Mount Austin there. And then at the bring of cabinet paper for dam site. Move from Ranandi, dam site, then close. At go put over dam site somewhere Kosaplo Tetani Buti, somewhere lot of sisters there. Inside the central Gorkana, inside the Tenaru Lungaland. We say no man. You will need for talk with the landowners. You need to socialize these issues with the landowners. For the survey, that land brought by used for bearing what the man die, Lohaniara. Land brought by used for throwing what the waste brief, lo rubbish, lo the citizens of Honiara. And if you look lo how the land lo and the geography of it. Time and rain, sir. Much flooding and come down from Mount Austin. and look at the plains, yes. And it will be flooded. And all those rubbish will be washed down. And the gravesites, same too, sir. Before opposing, maybe we'll be start using this kind of law, the Seventh-day Adventist law, Betikama, or start for paying block of land for you bury man land. Or you pay entry law rubbish place. And the rental grave would be annual rental. Na? You man bury man there, you pay rental every year. This kind of schemes can come up. G province by Lulukula Minasa. But I'm saying this, the burial site and the rubbish site inside of Tenaru, before no like it. You can talk with him for land once first time. Before no like it. Maybe when a minister of lands, maybe if it's a shipping of the rubbish bin go Russell or the rubbish, or if it's a shipping of the dead man go Russell. True. Some kind of something that he can do himself. But sir, the fellow totally no agree with this one. And if he do him that one, we look at the people must come down. And it will be not good. But I'm no good for him. Finally, sir, foreign affairs, I think good that he may reset him with the programs with him, particularly with him USA. The Prime Minister, former Prime Minister Jerry and I, before we go to Hawaii, we spoke with the same person that the Prime Minister got to talk with him, Christopher Landau, who's the Deputy Secretary of State. And I think that reset program now, I'm not about to go there. The only thing that I agree with is the signing of the two documents that the Prime Minister is signing. The ship riders one, yeah. Because ship riders one, I think me explaining. Mr. PM, you walk the talk. You to talk about him bringing the treaties come to Parliament. You to talk about him bringing what something come to foreign relationship. Now you Prime Minister, you in government now. Do what you say you were going to do. Yeah. You know talk no more than you know doing. Do it. Bring it to this house so that all of us can look at it. And if you approve, then you can go and sign, or the foreign minister can go and sign. But don't say things that you know are doing. Please. So finally, our foreign policy depends on two things. Not depends. The two principles of it. One is Solomon Islands always adhere to international laws and the rule of law. And we always look at what is best for Solomon Islands in all these foreign relations that we have. You know what two core issues that you need. So, in terms of the chair of the Pacific Island Forum Leaders Meeting, Solomon Islands we by hand over the chairmanship go to Palau, then Prime Minister you go to Palau, then you hand over to the President of Palau. We also have a chairmanship that is existing for the next 2 years, where 2027 December finished, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs is now the current chair of the G7 Plus group here. So those are some of the things that we like for highlighting. So with these few remarks and within time and catching up, sir, I would like to thank you sincerely, sir, for the opportunity to raise some of this issue, and we support your motion. Thank you, sir.
Just a moment, let me give the floor to the Prime Minister first. He has something to say.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Many colleagues are yet to speak on the motion. And so I beg to move that the debate on the question be now adjourned to tomorrow, Friday, just so we can have more time. There is a program in the morning, Lower US Memorial, but after that we should be able to come back and complete this tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Honourable members, with your indulgence, as the Prime Minister has alluded to and requested that the consideration and continuation and debate on this motion be further given another day for the Parliament to consider. And on that note, the adjournment of Parliament today, with your indulgence, let me adjourn. Sorry, I think the Prime Minister, you have to call for the Parliament to adjourn until tomorrow. Okay, sorry, for you to adjourn the debate. I think that's a motion that you have to move and the motion to be carried. Oh, sorry, the Prime Minister has already moved the motion that the debate be moved until tomorrow. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. On that note, the ayes have it, and those against say no. No one against him. Therefore, the debate on the motion in reply to His Excellency the Governor-General address to Parliament is adjourned to Friday, 7th August 2026.
Sir, I move that Parliament to now adjourn. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. Those in the Parliament have called for motion that the Parliament do now adjourn. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Parliament henceforth is adjourned until 9:30 a.m. tomorrow morning.